Well, good day. This Louis Baarda here with Farming Smarter, and we've got our partner Mark Johnson, Dr. Mark Johnson from the UBC, and also a CEO of Ensemble Scientific. And today we're going to talk to you a little bit about an ongoing project we have looking at soil moisture monitoring. And what we're trying to do with this project is to develop a tool that's going to help farmers have better information and make better decisions about how to water their crops. So right here we've kind of got the sensor here, and you know, when we talk about how to better water crops or understand what's happening, there's a few pieces to the puzzle. Number one is having a really good idea what's happening in the soil. So we've got if we follow these wires here, we have a couple of soil moisture sensors installed in the soil. One's at 20 centimeters down, one's at 40 centimeters down. So that's giving us ongoing real-time information about what our actual soil moisture levels are in the soil. So if we're making decisions, we need to know what's happening there, and that kind of tells us, if we see this as a bucket, how much water do we have in the bucket. And the other piece to the puzzle is having a good idea what's going to happen to that bucket over the next little while. So for that, we're using different pieces of information. We're using some weather forecasting. We have some ET sensors that aren't installed at this site quite yet. And what these do is they fill in the other piece of the puzzle to say, okay, we know what's in the soil, but what's going to happen over the next week? What does the forecast look like? Is it going to be dry, rainy? What stage is the crop at? And as crops grow, there's been a lot of research and science behind how much water they use as they advance through their different stages per crop. So we're bringing in those what we call crop ET curves, which gives us a really good idea of how much water we can expect the crop to use. So we're pulling all these pieces in and saying, here's what's in the soil, here's how we expect that to change over the foreseeable future, and based on that, here's what we recommend. So I think for a little more information on how that goes, I guess a peek into the box of some of these models and technology, I'll hand it over to Mark.
Great. Yeah, so we're really excited to be part of this project. We're here in this field which has a center pivot system to irrigate the field, and it looks fairly flat, but there's quite a bit of relief when you get into it. There's some high spots that have a little bit shallower soils. They've been subject to some wind erosion over the years, so they hold moisture different than some of the lower areas in the field do, where maybe some of the silt is accumulated over the years. And so we've got a number of these stations distributed around the field, and like Louis said, we look at these two layers of within the rooting zone and the soil moisture there, and we can kind of figure out how much water is there available to the plants, and then we use our models to indicate how much water would be nice to kind of top up the bucket, so there's ample water for the crop to produce without putting down excessive water. And so that, with this particular field, has a variable rate irrigation controller, so it's able to kind of paint a picture across the field of different amounts of water, so that it can really fine-tune and deliver the amount of water that's needed to each different area of the field. And so with that, the crop can grow in a uniform manner, flower all at the same time, mature and be harvested with a nice, all sort of consistent in time. And so like Louis said, we kind of blend the information from in the soil with weather forecasts that we use to power our ET, our evapotranspiration models, to look at how much water the crops are going to be taking out in the next few days. We look at any rainfall that might be predicted, and we use that to kind of do a water balance forecast. And so we want to make sure that there's enough lead time for the grower to be able to order water, as is common here in southern Alberta, and do it in a way that has a prescription for all the different parts of the field, so it gets the appropriate level of water for the different areas with some antecedent time, so a little bit of lead time, because it'll take the center pivot 24 hours perhaps to make the full circle. And if you have to then, on top of that, have 24 hours of lead time to order your water, you're looking already at 2 days into the future where you're able to get water to some parts of the field. So we need to blend this real-time information with some forecasting information to get the water at the right levels. Again, we want to have enough, not too much, not too little, and get a nice uniform crop out of it. And that way, there's, with the the physical information from the soil gives us real information for what the crops are experiencing. By the time you're able to detect something in the leaves that you might see from a satellite or a drone, it can already be stressed, and you might have already suffered some yield impact from that. So this, we feel this approach is really useful to generate the information in a timely manner that can be acted on by the producer in an effective manner.
So what we'll do over the next, the course of the season, we've got our sensors installed. We'll have some weather stations and ET sensors installed in the near future, which is going to give us just a different way of getting that information. So we'll test a few different approaches, and our goal is to be able to close that loop. So taking what's happening in the soil and connecting it to the pivot and having a response to that. So there's some IT technology side to that, and we'll start working on that this year. And so stay tuned to Farming Smarter, and we'll keep you posted on progress and updates as we move forward with this project.